In the Simucase library, we have both simulations and videos. You can use the Library tab to search simulations or videos, or on your welcome page, you can search from search simulations or videos. First, we'll take a look at the videos. In the video library, you may be prompted to sign in, and when you do, you will always be signed into your profession, and you can use the areas across the top to refine your search. If you'd like to look at videos on ADLs, you could select activities of daily living and hit search. When you do, all of the video content that you see will be activities of daily living. When you select a video like Emma self-feeding, you will see the video and a brief description below. When you press play, the video will
Actually, the other night we had dinner at the table, and nothing that I prepared she would eat. She wouldn't eat anything that we had.
And it is closed captioned. So you can share the video in your classroom and full screen it. Students can full screen it when they watch it. And very soon there will be an interactive piece to the video segments where the videos will stop and students will be able to answer questions for observations that they make while they are watching the video. When they complete the video, the results of the video will be seen in the dashboard, so you can keep track of work that has been completed even in the video library. In the simulation library, you will see that there are 24 simulations for OT. We're going to take a look today at Ray. And when we do see Ray, we can start his case here. Students can start in learning mode or assessment mode. Debrief mode is only available for faculty and does have the correct answers as well as the ACODE standards. In learning mode, students will work, and this is where they will receive feedback as they go. When they hit the start button and go ahead and get started, you will see that there are topic areas across the top. There is a running clock, and beside it, the word show clipboard. Students will always want to start by showing that clipboard, and as you work through the simulation, your decisions will be saved to the clipboard. We will start by starting the case study here with the red Start Case Study button.
Ray is a 59-year-old male with a history of homelessness who is being treated for psychosis, depression, and other comorbid medical conditions. He was referred to occupational therapy by his case manager 6 months ago when he was residing in a homeless shelter. He is now living independently in an apartment, and you are the occupational therapist assigned to complete his home-based reevaluation today.
So when we use the Start Case Study button, what you will see is a short video description of the referral, and then the referral is at the top of this clipboard here. The learner can also take notes on the clipboard, and they just entry their notes and save them as they go. All the decisions that they make will save to the clipboard, and they can refer to them at any time. The learner will want to work left to right across the top, first taking a case history, then talking with collaborators, creating that occupational profile. In the hypothesis, they can hypothesize about things such as what kind of problem areas Ray might have and how that might affect his treatment or his evaluation. You can use this area to meet your learning objectives. We will then do assessments for Ray, make our findings, and our final recommendation. So when we look in the case history section.
I'm Ray. I'm 59 years old.
First, we will hear from our client, and then we can go ahead and take that case history. So within this tab for case history, we will want to work from top to bottom. First, identifying family information, then talking to Ray about areas of concerns, and so forth down the list. So the learner will look in each tab, read each option, and select only the reflective decisions. So we might ask Ray to tell us about his family.
I don't have no friends. I'm mostly by myself, run by myself, do the thing by myself. I have associates, but I leave them where they at. But my church members, they's like brother and sister to me when they there at the church. I talk to them. They ask me how I'm doing. That's about it. But mostly I by myself.
So you can see that Ray gives us an answer that is about 30 seconds. This video here could also be full screened, as all of the videos are full screenable within the system. You can see on the clipboard now that it is time stamped, and we can see what time we asked Ray this question. You might have noticed when I asked the question that we did hear a chime in the background. That is the positive auditory indicator. So if I ask, tell me about your current living situation.
I live in a senior apartment. It's nice, beautiful. I enjoy it. It's good to be in your own place.
So what you can see when I select an item that is positive, that you see a green bar appear in the top right corner, and you will also hear that chime in the background. So I am going to ask, describe a typical day.
Well,
I'm going to go ahead and mute Ray. You can see his answer is pretty lengthy. The learner will want to watch the video, engage with the client, and use the information that they find during the interview process to help them as they complete the evaluation. So we can also see, if we look at the circle here beside case history at the top left corner of your screen, that there is a small sliver of yellow that's building there. As the learner works through the simulation, they will gain color in this circle for making good reflective decisions, but they will lose some progress when they make poor or rejected decisions. So I'm going to go into areas of concern. I'm going to leave Ray muted. I'm going to ask a few strong questions in a row so that you can see how that progress meter builds. So I'm going to ask him how long he's been working with OT, what are some of his goals, and I might ask him to tell me about his history of homelessness. So you can see how that progress meter is building. But what if I ask him something like, why didn't you have enough money to pay for your own housing? That's a very insensitive question. And if I ask it, you're going to hear a different auditory indicator. Instead of that green bar in the top right corner of your screen, you will see a reddish pink bar appear.
My charge, I don't remember.
And he says he doesn't remember. So when we ask good reflective questions, we'll get the green bar, we'll hear the positive chime, and we'll grow progress in our progress meter. But when we ask something that is insensitive, uses medical jargon, is developmentally inappropriate for the client, or maybe is redundant, we will see the reddish pink bar in the top right corner, and we will also hear a negative auditory indicator. So we'll demonstrate that one more time in this developmental area when I ask him, were you neglected as a child?
My charge, I don't remember.
When we go into the collaborator section, this is where you'll get the chance to talk with the folks that are involved in Ray's care. So you can see that the case manager made the referral, so she'd be a good place to start. And when I start there, you'll see that we do get progress here in the progress meter.
This is Sharon Webster. I'm a case manager at the homeless shelter. I started working with Ray when he was residing here in the shelter.
So everything will be transcribed here as the learner speaks with the collaborator, and you can ask questions of the collaborator. So you want to keep the same rules as when interviewing the client. You want to ask the questions that are most appropriate. Maybe I want to talk to the occupational therapist that worked with Ray before I came in to see him today.
Hi, this is Sam. I'm an OT and I worked with Ray in our clinic at the shelter before he moved into his own apartment. I sent a copy of my initial eval as well as a progress note that was completed shortly before he moved into the apartment. I'm eager to hear how he's doing now.
You can see here at the bottom of the clipboard on the right-hand corner of your screen that it says Ray OT Initial Evaluation and Progress Note. When I click on that, that PDF will open, and you will see his initial information from the OT that saw him last. So students really do need to review the reports that they're given, as there will be information found in those reports that is found nowhere else, and it will guide them as they work through the simulation. So that report will guide them as to what some of the questions they want to ask the OT might be. Now, if we make an error, as we did in case history, you will notice on the clipboard that it does say redirect 1 and redirect 2. So the clipboard is holding the information and all of the answers as I click, but it's also going to let me know when I've made an error. And these redirects are helpful for the students because they can look at them and they can see, well, this is what I might have done wrong, and I need to avoid making those same mistakes as I go. In the hypothesis area, students can write that problem list and maybe hypothesize about what some of those problems might cause Ray as far as function. When they hit save, you will notice that the full progress meter appears here in green. This is what the students are working towards in each area, but the progress meter is really a pie chart. So the closer to being full that the progress meter is, the closer to 100% the student has in that area. And as we talked about, reaching that 90% overall score is an average of all of the scores at the top of the page. So missing 2 points in the grand scheme of things is still going to give the student that 90% or higher. So they would want to continue to work in the areas here and then move into assessment, selecting the best assessments for Ray. So when we go into the ADL tab, you can see that some of these assessments would not be appropriate for Ray at all. Some of the assessments might be for children, some might be for specific disease process, but they will all be appropriate to be in the IADL or ADL category. If we're not familiar with one of them, maybe we don't know what the goal is, if we click on it, we will always see a description, the age group, how long it might take to do this, and we can even look at the reference list and go to the reference for the goal and learn more. In this case, we're going to choose the activity card sort, and we can see the description of that activity card sort, which will fit our needs for Ray, and we'll administer that card sort. So the students will be asked to play the response anytime they see a play response button. When they play a response and they either get information or see a video segment, they will then answer the questions on the side of the slide. These are the skills checks. And when they answer these questions, this is going to allow you to see how their skills are improving and how they are reviewing information. Now, in learning mode, they can always ask for feedback using the feedback button here at the bottom of the slide, and this will grade the slide for them. So when I play this response, you can see that we get to review, select activity cards, score form before introducing the assessment to Ray. So this is the actual score form for the activity card sort. You can see there are 76 items, and then you do get a preview of all of the items. When we go back, you can see here the very first question is how many total items are there? So I just pointed out there were 76. What top 5 desired occupations were identified by Ray at the time of his initial OT evaluation? So we'd have to go back and review that OT eval if we did not. What is the purpose of the leading questions found on each activity card? When there are open text boxes, students will have to fill those in. Then they can ask for that feedback to see if they are on the right track and move on to the next slide. We would play the response and we get to actually see Ray selecting.
All right, today, Ray, we're going to do the activity card.
So first, the OT is going to set up the activity. You can see here in the slide, it says that therapist will provide Ray with an introduction to the assessment. So she is describing everything, and then we need to answer the skills checks here on the side. So as the students go through the activity card sort, they will see Ray select the activities that he is most interested in, and then at the end, we will synthesize the information. So you can see here that the progress meter filled up about 50%. That means there's just really one more thing that we need to do for Ray. And so we would then go in and look to see what other assessment we would want to do with Ray based on the information that we've gathered already. So the students, when they're working in assessments, will get credit here in the progress meter for selecting the correct assessment, but they're also going to be scored on how well they answered these skills checks. We'll then move into findings. In the findings area, the students will work from top to bottom on the list selecting each area and then determining if there is a deficit in that area for Ray. So we've tried for the Just Right challenge here, and so when you do see that we're selecting, you won't see every possible cognitive communication finding available. So we want the students to have a list that seems manageable, but we can see here that we might want to choose executive functioning deficit. And when we do, you see that my progress meter begins to grow. We would then go through in each area selecting the most appropriate items for Ray. So from his referral, if we would look at that again, we can see he has a history of psychosis and depression. So we may want to add depression to our list. And when we do, we can see we are about 25% of the way there. So we'd want to continue to work through finding all of the areas that would be considered a finding for Ray. You cannot take your answers away once you select. So you can't come into this area and just select and choose without having an idea of what you'd like to select. So if I selected eating disorder, you can see that is incorrect and I do lose points there. In the recommendation section, we will choose the best recommendation for Ray. And when we select that recommendation, our progress meter would fill entirely. But if we select incorrectly, we would receive no progress. You can see here that we need to select carefully because the selection will be automatically saved and cannot be deselected. So if we were to say that, for instance, that we chose the second one where he is presented with poor personal hygiene, well, that would be incorrect because we know that he is not presenting with poor personal hygiene today. So we would look at all of these and decide which one would be the most appropriate. You can see I did select incorrectly and now all of the rest of my bubbles have disappeared and I did not fill my progress meter. If you assign the student to do so, they can document the encounter here and put in applicable billing codes. Those billing codes are available in the assessment section under instructions. And students can select their billing codes and enter them here as they document the encounter. You can also have students either enter or update long and short-term goals. And when they save this information, it will be on the final report. So at this point, we could save and exit or submit the case. We're going to go ahead and submit. You can see that the student does get a view of how they've done right away. We only have a 17% here, which just is emerging competency. We are working for that 90% mastery level. You can see we completed only one of the 2 skills checks. Students will export that final report. They want to do so before making a second attempt to see where they might have made errors and to avoid making those same errors as they move forward in the case. So we did make quite a few errors, including getting the wrong recommendation. You can see where I had put in my documentation and where Simucase was scoring us as we were answering the skills checks questions. So students will want to review the final report before they make their second attempt. When they select a new simulation that will take them out to the library, they can always restart the simulation here in learning mode again. And if there is a section that they're satisfied with their results in, they could select that section like this 100% in the hypothesis area, and they could maybe bring those assessments forward. When they hit restart, what you will see as these progress meters will be partially full or full because these sections are either somewhat complete or completed. Students can then start from the beginning, redoing the areas that they were dissatisfied with, keeping the things that they were satisfied with, and then even moving on in areas where they had some progress. They could then submit the case again, and they would get a new final report. Or they could save and exit, and they could resume and work on it again at a later date. So they can always save and exit and resume their last attempt. So when I save and exit here, we're just waiting for the save exit to occur. And now there's a resume button here beside my restart, and I can resume that last attempt at Ray. When students are working in Simucase, they do get that final report, and they always have access to their final reports in the transcripts, which you can see the transcript tab right above my name here in the top right corner of the screen.